Welcome back everyone to another episode of Vegetarian Cooking with JJ. Today I'm going to be making a Middle Eastern veggie plate over quinoa with a garlic tahini. It is going to be a very simple and delicious dish to make, and I'm sure you'll return to this recipe time and time again. You're welcome to go with couscous or rice if you wish, but I decided to go with the quinoa. I recommend that you give your quinoa a wash before you get started, even if the package says that it's been pre-washed. I like to do this personally. The beets I use in this dish, I keep separate from the spice blend so that they maintain their own distinct flavor and provide a nice sweet contrast to the spiced veggies. I'm very excited to get started, so let's head over to the kitchen and get cooking. First of all, I'm going to boil a cup of water and I'm going to slice our half a block of tofu into equal slices. So we'll put our slices of tofu into this dish. I'm going to pour over a cup of our hot water. You want the temperature to be around 90 degrees, equivalent to the perfect English tea. We'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'll add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of mint. And we'll just stir it up. Now I'll pour our marinade over top of our tofu and set it aside. Now I'm going to bring 2 cups of water to a boil. And I'm adding 1 cup of pre-washed quinoa, a little bit of salt, give it a stir. Our quinoa should take 12 to 15 minutes, so I'm just going to peel the beets and cut them up. Beets may not beat like a heart, but they're similar in shape and in color. And Aphrodite, the goddess of love, attributed her youthful beauty to the use of beets. Because of their mystical properties, the oracle at Delphi declared that they are worth their value in silver. In ancient times, the beetroot was used for medicinal purposes and the leaves were used for regular consumption. And back in the day, it was said that if 2 people ate the same beet, they would fall in love. In Roman times, beets were thought to be an aphrodisiac. And I'm going to cut them into even cubes. Early American colonists used beets to create pink frosting for cakes, and it is still used to this day for food coloring. And it will surely stain. If you're working with beets in the kitchen, it will stain your hands, stain your cutting board, and be careful about your clothes, it will stain those too. I recommend washing your cutting board right away after you're using beets in the kitchen. I'll get our oven preheated to 450. We're going to put our beet cubes into this bowl. I'll coat them with our avocado oil, sprinkle on some salt, and some pepper. We'll toss them up and spread them out onto this parchment-lined baking sheet. We'll keep them on one side because we're going to be adding the cauliflower and carrots. I'll pop them in the oven and we're going to get our spices going. We'll start with 1 teaspoon of curry powder, a half a teaspoon of ground cumin, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of sumac, a half a teaspoon of turmeric, a half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of oregano, a half a teaspoon of ground coriander. We'll add some salt and some pepper. We'll stir it up. And we'll move on to our cauliflower. We're just gonna cut it up into smaller florets. And we'll cut our baby carrots in half lengthwise. 5,000 years ago, when people started growing carrots, they were not that distinct orange color that we now know today. They were red, black, purple, white, and yellow. It was through selective breeding in the Netherlands that brought forth that orange color, paying tribute to the House of Orange. Similarly, beets weren't originally that distinctive red color that we know and love. They were black and white. The only vegetable that has more natural sugars than a carrot is a beet. In the 17th century, ladies in the UK wore carrot leaves in their hair as a fashion statement. It was considered chic. And back in the day, the Celts used the color from the beets as lipstick and rouge. Now we'll pour our spice mixture over top of our carrots and cauliflower. We'll pour over our oil. We'll mix it up. And we'll add it to the other side of our baking sheet. This should be ready in about 15 minutes. We're going to microplane our 5 cloves of garlic. We're going to be splitting this up. So we'll put half of our microplaned garlic into our quinoa. And we'll give it a nice stir. And I'm going to add some olive oil. We'll stir it up. Now we'll get our tahini going. So we'll add 2 tablespoons of tahini to this bowl. We're going to add the other half of our garlic. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, freshly squeezed. I think I'll add a little bit more. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and about a teaspoon of agave. You can also use maple syrup. You can thin it out if you wish with a bit of extra water. Our veggies are ready, so we'll take them out of the oven. Now we're just going to fry up our marinated tofu. You want to get it nice and brown. I'm going to chop some parsley here, have it ready for the finishing touch. Our tofu is nice and brown now. So it's time to plate our dish. We'll add our quinoa to the bottom, add our veggies on top. I'm going to keep the cauliflower and carrots separate, just for the visual effect. And top it off with our tofu. And we'll drizzle on our tahini sauce. I'm adding some dried mint because I really want that flavor to come through. And we'll top it with our chopped parsley. This meal serves 2 to 3, but you can make adjustments based on how many people you're serving. It's that time again. I get to try it. Here it is. This Middle Eastern style dish definitely hits a spot. There you have it, everyone. Another great recipe to add to your recipe booklets. So remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. There's going to be a new video every Monday, traveling the globe and keeping things interesting in my kitchen and in yours. Bon appetit! Beets may not beat like a heart, but they are similar in shape and in color, an Aphrodite